What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise postgame show. After what was a very tough loss, I gotta mute that. I gotta get myself set up. Freaking ESPN always auto-playing things. Very tough loss for us today. This stream is going to be some venting because I'm pretty triggered at some things that went on during that game. If you follow me on Twitter, you can probably tell that I was a bit triggered. And honestly, I don't even know where to start with this intro. I guess, Boston won 128, 124. The Blazers fall to 1-on-1 in the restart. And I don't know, man. Like, I'm still kind of scrambled brain, but just like frustrated right now. Do you want to just start venting? Do you want to talk about why we lost this game? Do you want to talk about the ending there and us going for two with 6 seconds left without timeouts left?
Yeah, let's talk about the ending.
Okay.
It was with less than 10 seconds left and no timeouts. You cannot go for a quick two in that situation. A lot of people are saying that wasn't the play or that was on Dame. But in the huddle, you have to tell your players, look, we do not have a timeout left. Going for two does not help in this situation. We need a three. We don't have a timeout, so we can't. Even if we score and foul, we're going to be left with that having to do that long inbounds pass, which never works in the NBA. It works in college sometimes,
Yeah.
But when was the last time you saw a full court pass and someone catches it and scores like that in those situations? It rarely ever happens. It's almost always when you have a timeout and can set up a play. And yeah, it's not like as War Mankind points out, it's not like Stotts hasn't tried to sneak in a quick 2-pointer in other situations before. So yeah, I mean, yeah, part of that has to be on Dame to know the situation, but that shouldn't even be part of the play design. We should have it set up to where the players all know that we have to shoot a three in that situation. And yeah, I don't understand. Once again, we lose the game because of situational awareness and something that should be common sense for someone who knows the game of basketball. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said Stotts is a bad situational coach at the end of games, defensively or offensively. And defensively, I can point to the Philadelphia 76ers game in Portland earlier this year where they didn't switch on the inbounds and gave up a wide-open three. That win would be huge right now, but no, we didn't switch and gave up a wide-open three to Furkan Korkmaz, and Philadelphia won the game because of that. So here we are today, and just bad situational offense going for two. Nurkic should have popped there. I would have taken an open Nurkic three. He hit one earlier this game, right? Nurkic is a smart player, right? If Hassan Whiteside rolled, then that would be different. Okay, maybe Hassan Whiteside's just, being Hassan Whiteside and not being the smartest player. But Nurkic, if Stotts said in the huddle what you just said right now, I don't think Nurkic would have been rolling because Nurkic is smart. Nurkic is coachable. I think Nurkic would have popped. That's why I don't understand. I feel like that was an actual option. Oh, we can go for the quick two. No, you can't in that situation.
Let me correct you there. Melo was standing right next to Nurk. They wouldn't both be there if they were not supposed to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why isn't Melo spotting up for three too? Because if the play design wasn't to get an open three, and as several people pointed out, Gary Trent Jr. was wide open in the opposite corner for a three, it would have been hard for Dame to get that pass to him. But you should have, with how hot Gary Trent was shooting and how you knew the defense was going to key on Dame on that situation, it might have been smart to just throw it all cross court to Gary Trent Jr. with no one on him because you knew you could have probably designed a play to get him open when everyone thought it was going to Dame. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's that's secondary. I just don't know. Yeah.
For the people blaming Dame, that's absolutely freaking ridiculous. For the people blaming Dame on that play, he got doubled and had one option to throw the ball, and that was Nurkic underneath the hoop. Or he could have picked up the ball, been trapped with 3 seconds left, and not have gotten a shot off at all. Like, that was Dame's options there. That Dame was not put in a good situation there. It was, okay, Nurkic for 2 or basically nothing, because Gary Trent Jr. was wide open, but Dame had 2 defenders on him. I'm positive that pass would have gotten deflected. Dame wouldn't have been able to get it out of the defenders he had on him.
He probably could have gotten a shot off when Marcus Smart slipped a little, but how was he supposed to know Smart was going to slip right when he went out for the pass?
And it would have been an insanely tough shot, and if he missed it, you would have had some people saying, oh, Dame took such a bad shot there. You know what I mean? So anybody blaming Dame in that situation, you're tripping. It doesn't make sense. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock was not getting a shot off at all. The hard place was, we're going to take a 2 with 3 seconds left and without timeouts. If we had timeouts, a little different story, right? But we didn't have any timeouts.
Absolutely. If we have a timeout, that last pass by Nurk, we advance the ball instead of having him throw that full court pass. And we have 3 seconds, only down at the most 3. If they miss a free throw, we're only down 1 in that situation or 2. So yeah, you can have time to run a play then and get a good shot at the end, but you do not. It doesn't work out in the NBA. It's like the players are too athletic and too skilled to get a good shot on that in those situations, especially off. Like in college, you don't advance the ball in a timeout, so you have to practice that situation a lot. And you can call a timeout and set up a play to throw a pass to like half court and have like the Bryce Drew where he's like I talked about with breaking the zone coverage last time, and you pass off to him and get an open shot at the end. But like you don't even have a timeout to call a play off of that. And why was the play just like lob it up and hope someone catches it? And like why didn't we run some action or someone like Dame off a pick or something? Like it doesn't make sense why we wouldn't set up a play for that situation if we went for 2. Because like you have to set up both plays then, because you have to figure if you're going for 2, you're going to get the quick 2. Like in most situations you would, because Boston's going to give you that, right? So you have to let the players know exactly what the play plan is for when we get the ball back. It's just so frustrating.
I am tired of having every inbounds play in the final seconds be Dame running off screens towards the ball. Like the Houston play, like it worked, Houston in 2014. It worked against OKC like the year after that. It only works though if teams guard it bad, right? The thing is, it's like easy to see coming. Dame's gonna run towards the ball off these screens, right? So it's easy to spring a double team on him like the Celtics did. I wish Stotts would be more creative, right? People want to call him an offensive genius. You don't have anything more for the final seconds on a sideline inbounds than just Dame running towards the ball. That's all you have. You can't be more creative than that, and people want to call you an offensive genius. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're an offensive genius, you should be able to come up with something more than that.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought, like, at the beginning of his time here, that he had a lot of situations where he did drop some good out-of-bounds plays, but the last, 4 or 5 years, I haven't seen many good ones. And you see that all the time, in late-game situations where a player gets a wide-open shot simply because of the design of the play. But, yeah, it's our offense the entire game, like Joel says, to just let Dame and CJ and Melo and whoever just bail us out. So why would it be any different in the last few seconds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm very frustrated. There's a bunch of other problems with this game, too. Down the stretch, Jaylen Brown killed us, and we had Carmelo Anthony on him, and we did have Gary Trent Jr. in the game, so I guess it was Melo or Zach Collins, but let me just speak on Melo for a second. His biggest problem is overhelping from the strong side corner. And I haven't brought this out in a minute, but I might bring it out for any of those of you who are confused as to what I am talking about. Here it's the good old clipboard. Sorry, Eric, I'm hiding you for a second.
It's all good.
But so with Carmelo being the power forward, this was a 3 that happened late, right? You had Carmelo. He was on, I think, Jaylen Brown, right? I think you had 2 guys over here. just this type of situation. And this happened like 4 times this game. This like same exact situation where you had a pick and roll with the Celtics running a pick and roll right here. The ball handler going off the pick and roll with the ball. But Nurkic had this contained all game long. Nurkic had this contained. I don't remember many times where Nurkic struggled in this situation. So you have your help guy there. You have Nurkic on the point guard. You have this bottled up, right? Too many times Carmelo will come all the way here and just give up. Oh, wait, no. Carmelo is the red. Anyway, this is Carmelo. Too many times he comes way in here and just gives up this kick-out pass for a wide-open 3. That happens way, way, way too much. That's what I mean by strong side corner. It's the ball side and Melo's over helping. His help isn't needed in here because Nurkic has this bottled up. Dame's getting back in the play, right? You have this pretty well guarded. You need Melo to not give up a corner 3 here. But too many times, and I complained about this before the cancellation. This was a big problem with Melo. It was him over helping. Him coming way too... He should be here, right? Instead, he's coming in here and giving up. This is an easy kick-out pass. And this is one of the easiest passes to shoot off of because it's kind of coming outwards, right out to you, right into your shooting pocket for a 3 from the corner, which is the shortest 3-point shot possible. Jaylen Brown hit the dagger with a corner 3. And honestly, like, Melo did a great job closing out, but he should have never been that far off in the first place. And this is one of the problems that should have been fixed earlier this season that wasn't. Like, this is the type of stuff that's like, how does this keep happening over and over and over again? If we are a well-coached team, this isn't something that shouldn't improve, right? This should show some sort of improvement, but it hasn't. You still have guys like Melo, and it's not just Melo. Mario does it. Gary Trent Jr. is pretty good about not doing this, about being in the right position, but this is something that CJ does at times. This is something that happens a lot, and we show no improvement. And now it's losing us games.
Hazonia does it.
Yeah, now it's losing us games 10 months after the season started. You know what I mean? Like,
so here's my problem with this situation.
Yeah.
So if Melo ran and actually double teamed the ball handler, it would be one thing because he could maybe make it like a difficult pass or something. He has to kind of go around
Melo.
But the problem is Melo always does this where he kind of half helps, kind of half stays on his man, and then he's stuck not doing either.
Yep.
So the guy still has the lane to drive. If he wants to drive, Melo's not going to stop him from doing that. And he's too far away from his guy to get the 3. And it's just terrible positioning. And people all keep saying on Twitter and stuff this game, it's personnel. Like, no, it's positioning on defense. Like, if you are in the right position in that play, there would not have been an open 3, or it would have been a lot tougher pass if you were not caught in no man's land. And it's just frustrating. And then one of the other times, Dame makes a tremendous defensive stop on Tatum, and frickin' Whiteside doesn't box out. Kanter gets the offensive board, kicks out to Jaylen Brown, and of course he hits the 3. And you just can't have possessions like that in this game. Like, there's no excuse for not boxing out, and there's no excuse for being in the wrong positions on defense. That's scheme and coaching. And if it's personnel, they are not doing a good enough job of reaming their asses for being in the wrong position and not boxing out. Because they should be benched immediately if you don't box out and give up an offensive rebound and a 3-pointer, which I think Whiteside was. But
the thing is, now at this
Melo
point,
doesn't get benched for that.
Now at this point, it kind of has to be drastic. The thing is, like, it shouldn't have to be that drastic if the coaching is good, right? You should be in film sessions, working with Melo, working with Whiteside, drilling it into Whiteside's head that he needs to try and box out more, drilling it into Melo's head that he shouldn't overhelp, or, trying to work on him with his positioning, right? Because these are mistakes you can have, during the regular season. Now, I mean, I guess it's still the regular season, but these are must-win games, right? These issues have caused us to lose games and put us in a tough position to begin with. But it's something that should be improved on over the season, and it's not. And that's the problem I have. And Melo's not a great defender, but the positioning aspect of his defense is a coaching issue because it should be something that the coaching staff should be helping him improve. And it hasn't improved. It's as bad as it's ever been. It gave up 4 threes today. 4 threes. That's the difference in this game. See, those type of things at the end of the season make the difference between wins and losses. The difference between wins and losses make the difference between are we getting in the playoffs or are we not? You know what I mean? Like, everything adds up. And these type of mistakes drive me crazy because they shouldn't still be happening to the scale they're happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Spurs are up 3 with 51 seconds left.
I'm rooting for the Spurs. I'm rooting for the Spurs. Yeah. If they win, we can still catch Memphis for the 8th seed. I'm not worried about the Spurs making the playoffs because they have a really hard schedule in the last 6 games. Like, it's a super hard schedule. So if we can't gain a win over them over the final 6, like, that's sad.
Well, the other thing is, too, we could have a situation where both us and the Spurs or another team passes Memphis if they lose the majority of their games. So
yeah,
we could end up playing the Spurs in the game, the playing games. But
because Memphis played us, they played the Spurs. I think their schedule gets harder too, just like San Antonio's, just like ours kind of does. Let me look at their schedule. Let me look at who they're playing. Because I know Memphis' schedule isn't easy. Everybody's tripping about the Pelicans' schedule. I didn't really focus on other ones. They play the Pelicans next. I don't know who I'm rooting for in that game. It's kind of like a toss-up. If we won, I would be rooting for New Orleans, but since we lost, it's kind of a toss-up in that situation. Then they play Utah, OKC, Toronto, Boston, Milwaukee. So Memphis' schedule the last 5 games is really tough. And New Orleans has to win that game. So New Orleans is going to play them tough tomorrow as well.
But teams like Milwaukee aren't going to care about that game.
Yeah, but Milwaukee is still so good. They're
already
good.
Locked in.
I mean, true, but they're still so good. Like, and it might be a bit of a tune-up, you know what I mean? Because they're locked in right now, and they play Boston hard and beat Boston. So, of course, it is the last game of the regular season. But the other games in there for Memphis are still very, very tough. So I still think there's a chance we can't catch them. This win would have been huge, though, and that's what sucks about losing this game due to dumb mistakes that haven't been fixed all season. That's what's so frustrating about this.
So I don't know how to say his last name, but Alex Chiso or whatever you say. If you're gonna troll, like, try making sense. Blazers are crying, or is it just a Jaylen Brown 7-7-7? I know his number's 7, but like, how is that?
I'll just
like makes sense if you're trolling.
I just keep putting him in the timeout circle. I'll just sun him
because
he's acting. Like, no, he's acting like he's 12. So timeout circle for kids, you know. Anyway.
I don't mind a good troll, but that's like, what are you even saying?
Yeah. So I know some people are rooting for San Antonio, or rooting for Memphis here.
Spurs are up 3 with 17 seconds left.
Yeah. So we'll update that game once it's done. But that's what's so frustrating about this loss, is because we had a tremendous comeback, right? We got hot from 3. Dame got hot. Gary Trent Jr. shot the lights out of the ball. And I'll rant about the fact that he's not starting over Melo later, because it's getting more and more frustrating because it's so obvious. It's so obvious that Gary Trent Jr. should be starting. But we made a tremendous comeback, and that's kind of what stings about it. You know, like all that just to not pull it out in the end due to dumb mistakes. It just sucks, man. Just sucks. I didn't miss this feeling, right? I didn't miss this feeling. You know, it's definitely not a good feeling, man.
Yeah, we'll get into this, but the reasoning why we were down so many points in the first half is frustrating too. Like, it should have never gotten that out of hand. So we wouldn't have had to come back so much and use all that energy trying to come back. And then you had a couple of Dame deep threes that were just like in and out. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Dirk missed a bunny towards the end. Yeah, it's just like so many things.
Yeah. Dropping the big, though, pissed me off. Because Jason Tatum gets going off the mid-range pull-ups. Like, yeah. I always feel like whenever he has good games, it's because he builds a rhythm off of mid-range pull-ups. And then it extends out to 3. Then he starts hitting threes. Then once he starts hitting threes, guys play up on him. Then he drives past and gets to the rim, right? Like, I feel like hitting mid-range pull-ups gets him going. And I've talked about this for years, man. You consistently drop the big like that, guys are going to know they're going to have the mid-range pull-up available to them because the big is playing so low, right? They know they can walk into that. Going into this game, if Boston watches any sort of film from the Portland Trail Blazers, their players would know, okay, they dropped the big on every pick and roll. So every time I come off a screen, I'm going to be able to walk into a mid-range pull-up. And the way Tatum shoots, you can't really block it, so he has confidence, even if a guy is like kind of near him, right? So he built his rhythm early on just by walking into mid-range pull-ups because we kept dropping the big, and then we didn't adjust.
See, my thing is, because I want to get into this later about Portland media too, but I heard several people saying like, well, they have so many like 6'8" guys. What are you supposed to do? Well, in every situation other than when Nurk is the guy in the pick and roll on defense, this should be an automatic switch. Because what does it matter if CJ's guarding Tatum or guarding Brown or guarding Kemba Walker or whoever's the point guard, Smart? Like, just switch every pick unless it's Nurk. And if it's the big guy setting the pick, then you hard hedge and let the guard recover because we're horrible at getting through screens still. I don't know if that's just like never going to happen or if we don't try to coach people how to get through screens, but we always die on every screen. And then so like if Nurk's involved in the pick and roll, you show hard, stop the penetration, and then allow the guard to recover, and then he recovers back to his guy. You have a guy kind of hanging out, waiting just in case he can't get back in time, but then you're back in position right away. But every other situation other than with our big, it should be an automatic switch. Because like I said, I mean, we had Dame was guarding Tatum fairly well in one-on-one situations. Like, it doesn't matter when you have 4 bad defenders or 3 bad defenders in the game, like just switch all those picks. Like it just drives me crazy how we still give up like a straight line drive to the basket on a pick when there's absolutely no excuse for doing that.
We switched the wrong picks. We were like switching Nurkic out onto perimeter players, but then when it came to perimeter players, we weren't switching. Like it was completely backwards. And then we're dropping the big instead of hedging, and Tatum's walking into mid-range pull-ups. That's why everybody who says personnel is just like not seeing the bigger picture. And that's what we try and do here. We try and illustrate the bigger picture because nobody in media is going to illustrate the bigger picture, right? They're the ones that are just going to sit there and say, personnel, we just need Ariza. You know, they were saying injuries all season long. Oh, if we get Collins Nurkic back, our defense will be better. Our defense will be great, right? How many points have we given up the last 2 games? I know the first one went to overtime, but at the end of the regulation, Memphis had like 125. Boston had 128. We have Collins and Nurkic, right? So it's absolute bullshit, the whole narrative that they were just going to automatically fix our defense. And I told you guys that before this restart. I told you guys that. Eric told you guys that. We were right. We were right. We've been right on a lot in regards to this restart and in regards to this season. Not to toot our own horn, but
well,
I wish I was wrong, to be honest, too.
In the second half, you saw when Trent is in the game at small forward and Melo is either not in the game or at power forward, the defense got much better magically. Like that's not just like luck or anything like that. It's because Melo is out of position defensively at the 3. We do not have good perimeter defenders at the 1 and 2. I mean, like I said, Dame had a decent game defensively, but he's not like going to lock down every time. And I mean, I appreciate that he picked it, like put it on himself to guard Tatum in some of those situations, but that's not ideal over the course of a game to have to rely on him to get stops against the team's best offensive player. And then who knows if he didn't expend so much energy on defense, maybe a couple of those long threes fall instead of rim out. And it's like little things like that don't show up in a box score, but it's like little details that we're just so bad on. And then we get down by a lot and have to come back. I mean, how many times in that Memphis game we pulled out the victory, but how many times did we almost let that game slip away when we had complete control of it through half? It's just frustrating because we saw Trent is obviously a better defender and a better shooter than Melo. And I don't care what you say. I'm not saying Melo is not a Hall of Fame player. He is.
You don't have to placate to the people that think you're a Melo hater. You know.
He's one of the best scorers of all time in the history of the NBA. Like, that's a fact. Like, I'm not disputing that. But for this particular roster, it is so obvious that Gary Trent is the perfect fit in that lineup, both offensively and defensively. And for some reason, we don't want to play that lineup. I just don't understand. It just Doesn't make sense.
Granted, Gary Trent Jr. played 34 minutes today, but if you're going to play Dame and CJ over 40 minutes per game, you should be playing Gary Trent Jr. 40 minutes a game as well, so that they're not wasting their time playing running Dame into the ground and losing, right? You need Gary Trent Jr.'s defense in the lineup. He's in phenomenal shape. He could play 40 minutes a game. He is the fourth most valuable player on this team. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, Gary Trent Jr. right now is the fourth most valuable player on this team because of how badly we need a good perimeter defender in there. And then you look at the way he's been shooting the ball. Isn't that what we've always wanted from our starting small forward next to Dame and CJ? Isn't that what everybody was crying for? All these media guys were begging to have a 3-and-D small forward that could light it up from 3-point range, right? Begging for years. For years these media guys were begging. Now it's like they're not upset over Gary Trent Jr. not starting. Like, that's exactly who they were begging for years. That's what I don't understand about it. And just frustrating, man, because we need Gary Trent Jr.'s defense against the best opposing players. You need it next to Dame and CJ, and you need it against the best opposing players, right? So it only makes sense to start him against other team starters instead of playing him with the bench. Yes, Boston staggers things in a way where he was still matched up against Tatum, but his defense, you need it. You need it next to Dame and CJ to make it easier on him. We play Houston next game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gary Trent Jr. would be great to put on James Harden, don't you think?
Yeah, it would be.
Instead of Dame, CJ, or Melo?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a rhetorical question in terms of you.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't understand why people are on board with starting Melo at the 3. Like, and it's not even like I'm trying to say like Melo's playing bad. He struggled today. He sells for too many mid-range jumpers. He had a clutch 3 though. You know what I mean? But like, just in terms of the way things fit with the starting lineup and the bench unit, it's so obvious to me that Gary Trent Jr. should be starting and Melo should be, with the bench unit. His offense would fit better. It's so obvious. Like, it's literally not even a question. Like I know it's my opinion, but like, it's literally a fact to me. Like, it's so obvious.
So one thing I had a huge problem with. So Collins picks up his second foul early, right? And has to come out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And who does Stotts bring in? Mario freaking Hazonia. And it was several minutes later before Gary Trent. I was trying to look it up, like when exactly Trent came in. Why not bring Trent in and play him at the 3 and move Melo to the 4? Like, I don't get it. Like, and then all of a sudden we're down like 20. Like, it's just freaking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a play where Whiteside canters like 15 feet from the hoop, pump fakes him, even though Whiteside's standing right next to him. He doesn't need to jump at the pump fake. He jumps at the pump fake. Cantor goes right around him and gets Collins his 3rd foul. And all of a sudden, Collins has to come out of the game. It's like stuff like that just drives me crazy. It's like,
yeah,
there's so many little things that add up, and we're so like undisciplined, and we make so many terrible decisions, just lineup wise, that put us at a disadvantage before we even play the game. And then, like, you see how good Dame is. Like, he had a phenomenal second half. Like, think of how good he would be if he wasn't trying to make up for the disadvantages we're creating before he even steps on the court. Like, like, he's better than he even puts out. Like, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah. It's just the same stuff. Different season. It's summer now. I didn't expect these freaking conversations in summer, but here we are. You had 10 months to improve on this type of stuff, and they haven't improved. You know what I mean? They beat the Memphis Grizzlies barely. That's a team they're much more talented than. And then you had Dame playing insane. You had Nurkic play one of the best games of his career. He had 39 and 5. 12 for 20 shooting, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Nurkic is 13 for 13 from free throws in the bubble. You had Gary Trent Jr. playing insane, 7 for 11 from 3. You had guys play very, very well, and we still lost.
I think the Spurs won.
That's good. Were you not rooting for the Spurs?
No, it's fine. It's just I mean, we'd be a game and a half back of Memphis right now if we took care of business. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, this is the type of games you have to win if you're Portland.
I saw so many people comment, including Chad in Rip City, that, Celtics are just had the continuity and the Blazers, like, we're still using that excuse? Still? Just because Zach and Nurk were hurt and came back? Yeah.
They were supposed to come back and automatically make things better, and now since things are better,
everyone was off for 4.5 months.
You see the excuses, the way he lines it up, and there's people that are like, oh, well, now we can't do anything without Ariza, right? It's like if we ever have any player out ever, we can't do anything, and we're like, excuses everything that happens, and then with Chad, you just line it up, excuse after excuse after excuse, because he doesn't truly know basketball on a deep level, so that's really all he can say. Like, that's just what happens with media, and like, it's frustrating, man. And I would not even talk about Chad on air or call Chad out if he didn't call me an idiot all season for not thinking that the return of Nurkic and Collins weren't just automatically going to fix all our defensive issues, right? It wasn't just injuries. There were other issues that existed. And I was called an idiot and ass clown all season for that. Man, screw Chad Doing. Like, that's what he was saying to me, man. So we've been right. We've been right, sadly. I wish I wasn't right. I wish I was wrong as hell and none of these issues existed and Melo at the 3 was great and all that and Whiteside and Nurkic was working together, all that. I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case, man. I don't like being right when it hurts the Blazers, right? Some people have actually made that mistake in the past. They're like, oh, you're rooting against Melo. You're a Melo hater. You don't want him to succeed. Bullshit. I want him to. I was so hyped when he hit those 2 threes against Memphis.
And I just want to say I'm sorry. I know a lot of you like just total positivity and stuff like that, but Tori and I are two types that are just going to call it how we see it, and we're not being paid by the Blazers. We're not on a Blazers broadcasting post-game show. We're not on Blazers radio. We are free to speak our minds, and it drives me crazy that I had 2 of these knuckleheads that have post-game shows for the Blazers, Chad, who has the 5th quarter, and Dan Meringue, who's on Blazers Outsiders. Both of them during this game had the nothing you can do, Celtics are just better, and look at the Celtics lineup, they're just better. What do you expect coach to do? Really? That's your analysis? What are you supposed to do? You're on a Blazer post-game show, and you can't come up with the better thing than Celtics are just better, that's how it is. Like, why even play the freaking games then? Why even have a show? Why even have you on a show if that's your analysis?
Did either of them play high school basketball? I don't think they did. You know what I mean? It's like that's what happens when you get guys that are like, they know how to write and talk well, so they get put in that position. And that's the type of stuff you get.
I'm calling both of those guys out specifically because those are 2 of the guys who have told both you and me that we can't be so negative about the Blazers if we want an audience. Well, screw you, man. I don't care. We are going to tell what we see. If you want to freaking sugarcoat everything so you can keep your job because you have to kiss the Blazers' ass every time and be like, oh, it's not Stott's fault. What is he supposed to do? Like, that's bullshit analysis, and you shouldn't have a show if that's all you say.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I feel your anger and I share it. I also get it if, like, they have to be positive and they have to like, toe the company line, right?
But don't tell us.
But don't come after me and call me an idiot because I don't toe the company line, for you, right? Don't come and call me an idiot when I'm breaking things down on a level you don't. Like, I don't know. And if people like their show because they like things to be positive, I get that too. Go watch their show. That's completely fine. I do not mind.
I said, I get that people don't want to hear what we're saying, right? Like, that's fine.
It's 2 different like niches, right? You got the people that are positive, sugarcoat things, on to the next one, that type of thing, and a lot of fans want that type of stuff. And that's fine. I actually understand that, and I'm fine. I'm not insulted or hurt if somebody prefers Chad Doing's radio show over me, right? Yeah. I am the only thing I wouldn't like is if that person thought that somehow their insight and analysis is better than mine, right? You know what I mean? But, it is what it is. Like, people are going to like that over us. People are going to like us over them. We're just trying to fill a niche, right? I'm still just annoyed at how this season has went. And you guys can probably tell this. I'm annoyed at how the season went, just not only in regards to the team, just in in regards to the way it was covered, and then in regards to the way guys just absolutely went after us for our opinions. And now it's like, now that it's playing out where I feel like we're obviously right on what we've said all season long. We're obviously right on what we got blasted for all season long. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, you know?
No, man, it's because Nurkic and Collins were out.
I mean, me and Eric have been heavy with the sarcasm on Twitter lately, making fun of that stuff. So, oh man. So anyway, chat, man. Like, I don't know. Hopefully, you understand why I'm like frustrated with just media and how everything is played out all season. Like, hopefully, you guys understand that. If you don't, you probably think like, dang, he's way too mad, or he's taking it way too seriously, or that type of thing. Which I
this has
understand.
Been building up all year.
Yeah, I understand how that would come across that way, right? I'm a very I try to be, you know, maybe I'm not, but I try to be a very understanding person, right? So I understand how it might come across like, oh, these guys are crazy, these guys are, oh, they're toxic, they're talking bad about Chad doing. It's like, man, I wouldn't be saying anything if he didn't call me an idiot all season, like. So I mean, that's just it's a buildup of everything.
Well, even during this game, I'm not sure his name. There's so many names on Twitter's that's not the same name as in chat here, so like I could never tell if it's someone from here. But Chad was going back and forth with someone who was making great points about the coaching and stuff, and he just kept basically saying, "Agree to disagree. I think Stotts is great." And like never said anything like a reason why, or gave him an example other than the Celtics are good and Blazers are bad. So what is Stotts supposed to do?
This is making me laugh because it's so comical, and I need a laugh right now, to be honest. So.
But like, but they say like, well, it's Chad kept saying it's personnel or whatever. And so he'll say, well, why not try Little then? He's been a capable defender when he's gotten minutes. Oh, you can't play Little right now. He has no experience. But, like, why not try it? If nothing's going well and you're giving up, like, 70 points and a half, like, at least try something different. Because this is the problem with – it's exactly like Stotts' mentality. And that's my problem with both the media and with Stotts, is that – you just excuse it every time instead of trying to figure out why it's like that. And this is what happened in the Western Conference Finals and why we let Stotts have a game plan where he lets Steph Curry shoot wide open threes for a whole game and thinks that's a good strategy because, oh, well, Houston double teamed in the game before and that didn't work. So why should we like try anything different, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, so that means you don't have to try anything. You just let them go off. Okay. Like, you're paid to do that. You're paid to analyze the team if you're a media member. You're paid to coach the team if you're Stotts. Like, you should be trying, like, Stotts, or Chad even posed this question, like, the team wouldn't be better with any better with, like, Mike Budenholzer or Nick Nurse as the coach. And then he was like, how many games do you think he'd win? And, like, people were being somewhat realistic. They were saying at least 500, which is only, like, 4 games better than we are, right? Yeah. And he was like, oh, that's crazy, you know, and like clowning everyone who's saying stuff like that. And it's okay to like Stotts. Like, those guys have to interact with Stotts. It's fine. Like, I get it. Yeah. But don't, like, tell people they're wrong who are like, bringing up legit criticisms. Mm-hmm. And if Nick Nurse was our coach right now, there's no way we would have given up that many open threes in a half of an NBA basketball game. I guarantee you he would have tried like 10 different things to try and stop them from doing. And look what he's doing without Kawhi Leonard. And where's all the people saying, oh, personnel, you can't do anything as a coach if you don't have the personnel. They lost like one of the best players in the league and lost Danny Green off that team, didn't really replace them with much talent. And they still have the second best record in the East and just took down the Lakers last night. Mm-hmm. Like, so don't tell me you can't try different things on coaching just because your personnel.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you got the typical bullshit. Like, I love it 2 games in, Stotts, hey, it's flowing freely, people be crazy. See, you know what I mean? Like, it boggles my mind. Like, I don't think this dude ever played high school basketball. He's in the position he's in because he knows how to talk really, really well on radio. It's a skill that he has. Like, he's entertaining to listen to, and he talks really well on radio. So that's a compliment. That's a compliment. But his basketball knowledge isn't superior to everybody else. His basketball knowledge is not superior to mine, right? I don't try and put him, or I didn't used to. Now when he tries to put me down, sure, I'll put him down now, but I didn't try to put him down. I would just try and have conversations with him, and this is just like the type of arrogant bullshit attitude he has towards everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you criticize Stotts, you're crazy. That's like it's like the Blazers Twitter, or like the Blazers fan base in regards to media. It's like the media is like government propaganda, and you have all these people that just fall in line and eat it up. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like Blazer propaganda. Anybody who hates Stotts is crazy. Like, provide me more than that, Chad. I mean, and what sucks is it just results in people. Let me find your tweet, because you had a lot of replies on different stuff. You got people saying stuff like, just excusing everything. You know what I mean? Like, the whole basis is to excuse Stotts for anything you possibly can, right? You had Ian Rose replying to a Brandon Goldner reply. Brandon Goldner said to you, "I'm quite sure that wasn't the call in regards to going for 2 in the last final few seconds." And Ian Rose says, "People really think Stotts was trying to go for 2. Out of timeout plays can get broken up with being defended by lengthy defenders." Well, you know what I mean? It's just like that type of excuse. One, it doesn't even make sense because Nurkic rolled, right? Nurkic could have popped and could have been
like I said, Melo was there too.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, Nurkic didn't roll because the play got broken up, right? Nurkic didn't roll because there was lengthy defenders out there, right? It's that type of stuff that people say that just makes no sense. Nurkic could have popped. Instead, he rolled. Both would have been kind of open, but he rolled, right? Nurkic is not the type to completely ignore what's said in the timeout, and what should have been said in the timeout is, we have to go for 3. Make sure you shoot a 3. Don't roll to the hoop. They drew up a play, right? It should have been like, okay, Nurkic, if you set this screen for Dame and he gets doubled, make sure you pop behind the 3-point line for a 3, right? That's what should have been said. Do you really think Nurkic just decided to roll for the hell of it? No, Nurkic's a coachable player. He's smart, right? So if Stotts was saying what he was supposed to be saying,
he would have loved to shot the 3 if that was.
Oh, yes.
On that up. You don't think Nurk wanted to spot up and shoot a game-winning tying 3 at the end?
Yes. And Dame knew Nurkic was rolling. Based off the way Dame made that pass, he dribbled towards the rim without really a vision of where Nurkic was. He drove towards the rim until he found, the passing window to Nurkic. You could tell Dame knew Nurkic was supposed to roll there, just by the way Dame played that, right? Because if Nurkic was supposed to pop, Lillard doesn't take that dribble downhill towards the rim and jump going towards the rim to pass Nurkic the ball, right? He's expecting Nurkic to be behind the 3-point line. So, if anything, he dribbles back to try and get a window to pass Nurkic the ball at the 3-point line. Right? That was 100% designed, right? But you have people here that just make random points to excuse Stotts, and it just drives me crazy. It doesn't make sense. And I'm cool. I don't have anything against Ian, right? He called me an idiot all season, and then called me annoying for pointing that out, but it's just stuff like that. Like, I don't understand that, man. Those are the same people that are saying, oh, these guys are idiots, and then saying stuff that doesn't make sense. So it just drives me crazy, man. I wish these people would come and stream and we could actually have a conversation. But they don't, those are the type of people that, oh, I can't stand watching their stream. Well, come and try and make your point then, right? You're willing to make your point on Twitter, right? So come in a stream then and we can have a conversation. But no, it's never like that. It's always just stupid stuff on Twitter. So anyway, it's triggering. It's triggering, man. Because literally, it's like you could spell it out and they would deny it, Like, they're denying the obvious. We've been right on so much with this restart. Well, they're just denying. Oh, shit.
You mentioned that tweet Chad has where, like, 2 games in, Stotts hate is flowing freely. So I put on, or as a reply to that, 1, predicted our defense would be worse with a bigger lineup. 2, predicted the spacing on offense would also be worse with 3 players who like to play on the block, which I want to talk about this in a minute. Mm-hmm. And then also predicted that it would take Dame, CJ, Nurk, guys like that to have monster games to compensate for the lack of coaching and lineup adjustments and stuff like that. And so then I got a reply, it's not just coaching, it's personnel. Obvious this plan is flawed, but what are his options? So I say start Trent at small forward. if you're going to start two bigs, right? If you want to start Melo at the 4 with Nurk, fine, whatever. But don't start Melo at the 3 with both Nurk and Collins or Nurk and Whiteside. Like, I don't like going big when our struggles are on the perimeter. And then I put trap screens on defense instead of allowing the ball handler to come clean off the screen every time, or at least implement a show and recover scheme since we know the personnel struggles to get through screens. Instead, nothing. And then, so he says, it's hard to admit, but we're outgunned. Boston is a bad matchup. We don't have anyone that can defend Hayward, and their fourth option is on the perimeter. And it's like, okay, so like I said, why even play the games then? Like, what? We're not even going to try. We're just going to be like, oh, Boston's so good, we can't do anything. Let's just throw people out there and hope we outscore them. Let's not even try on defense. Right. You're muted.
That sucks. I was trying to save you guys from the sounds of me typing, but you know, I saved you from a rant. No, I mean, like, what I was saying. I'll just repeat it. It's spoken like a person who's never played sports. You never go into a game thinking, "Oh, we're just too outgunned. We're too overmatched," right? You have Dame, you have CJ, you have Nurkic, right? Gary Trent Jr. has been playing great. You got Collins back. Why the hell? Why the hell's the mindset? Oh, we're too outgunned, man. They're just too good for us. We just don't have that firepower. There's nothing we can do. What the hell are you talking about? It's just spoken like a guy who's never actually played competitive basketball in his life beyond, going down to the elementary school with some buddies half drunk and shooting around. Like, that's what drives me crazy. I played college basketball. Eric probably could have played college basketball. We think the game like athletes. We think, okay, what can we do to get better? What do we need to improve on? What can we do to give us the best chance of winning, right? And when I played organized basketball, when I played competitively, that was always the thought process, right? I guarded D1 players. I was never scared or like, oh, this guy's too good for me. I watched film and I busted my ass and was competitive about it instead of being scared like, oh, this guy's so good, right? As a competitor, that's the mindset you should have, right? That's what it drives me crazy, where you got these people in media that probably never even play high school basketball, don't even know what it's like to like play high, I shouldn't say high level, high school or college competitive basketball. So they have this mindset like, oh, we're just not good enough. Like, fuck that mindset, man. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Sorry I'm ranting so much about media and stuff. Wasn't really the plan. This whole stream's going to be a rant, but it just drives me crazy, man. It just doesn't make sense.
The thing is, I think it's inarguable, but I guess some people would say maybe he's right on the outside of the top 10, but we have a top 10 player, probably even top 7 player in this league, right? Mm-hmm. You're never, in an NBA game where it's 5-on-5, you are never outgunned or outmanned in a game if you have a guy like that on your team. And you have CJ McCollum, who's more than capable at the shooting guard. You have Nurk, he's shown no effects of being injured or not playing for almost a year and a half.
Better than ever.
Like, he's played phenomenal. You have a defensive specialist in Collins. You have a scoring specialist in Melo. You have a second-year player in Gary Trent Jr. who is looking like he is the real deal and is shooting the lights out and is playing tremendous defense. But you're giving excuses on continuity and you can't figure out a way to make all those nice pieces work. Like, how is that not coaching? How is that not coaching? Like, what?
We don't have
I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. Like, that is coaching. And a coach shouldn't be like, oh, you know what? We're at a disadvantage because we're smaller at every position than them. Let's just drop the big like we normally do and just let them score. Like, that's not how they should do it. They should try to be gimmicky, try to come up with something that can make that if you do have a talent disadvantage, I would argue that there isn't really if we're healthy and they're healthy.
Yeah.
But that's another story. But like, that's what coaching is for. You make up for disadvantages. You try to make up and make your weaknesses less weak, and you make your strengths better, and like take advantage of mismatches and try to create mismatches that the other team wasn't expecting and things like that. That's coaching. So if you're trying to argue that personnel is the problem, you're kind of playing into what I'm trying to say, is that no matter what your personnel is, you should be trying everything in your power. Then that's when your personnel is bad. That's when you should be trying the kitchen sink. Throw everything out. Like, do whatever it takes to try and make it happen. That's why, like, it's like a long time ago now, but the Miami Dolphins run the Wildcat because they don't have a quarterback and they suck on offense. So they put in a running back at quarterback and like win a few games because people catch on to it. But like in this type of setting, just do something that catches teams off guard. That's the whole point. You played in high school in a slow it down offense. Like that's by design. If you were like incredibly more talented than other teams, you wouldn't slow the ball down. You would just outplay everyone and just win off talent, right? So like you have to do stuff. Like I played against a team that did that too because there was no shot clock when I played. So like they would just literally hold the ball and run the weave up top like as long as they could until something happened. And like there's just you have to do different things. Like it just drives me crazy that people excuse it as a personnel situation when we know our personnel. I just mentioned like 5 or 6 players who are good personnel players. Find a way to make it work, and that's your job as coach. And if you can't do it, then it's on you. Not there shouldn't be excuses.
That'll always be personnel has always been the excuse, right?
Yeah.
When the Blazers got swept by the Pelicans, the media people and Blazer fans were bashing Al-Farouq Aminu for not being a good enough shooter, even though Aminu hit about 3 threes a game, shooting 43% that series, right? But it was personnel. Oh, you're just Aminu. You need a better stretch 4, right? As a 43% and over 3 a game wasn't good. Like, you know what I mean? That was the excuse then. And it was a bullshit excuse, right? Meanwhile, we're running Dame into traps at half court every freaking possession because all we do is run pick and roll, right? But no, it was Aminu can't shoot well enough. I throw my phone away. I accidentally hit the TV. Whoops. It's tired of it vibrating. But no, it was a personnel then. It was a personnel excuse then. This year, injuries. We just need Nurkic and Collins back, right? We got them back. No, it's we don't have the personnel to match up with Boston. It's always going to be a personnel excuse. Always. Like unless we have the personnel to like win 75 games without being coached, right? It's always gonna be it's the personnel. So it's the personnel. Like it's freaking driving me crazy. It's just always an excuse. It's just always bullshit. It's just always bullshit. And people can say that bullshit if they want. Don't attack us when we break things down beyond just our personnel.
With all due respect, that's what Ball Don't Lie podcast just said. I don't know if you want to read that, or you want me to read.
It's casual. I'm not gonna focus on the casual shit.
I mean, we spent the first 50 minutes of this talking about why that's wrong, but okay. Yeah.
We've literally been doing that this whole stream, and maybe he just joined and shit, but no, man. The thing is, he watches us apparently because he says y'all get too mad after losses, man. We've literally debunked the whole it's the personnel, man. We've broken that down so far beyond that already. Like I don't want to go and try and explain anything for him because we've already explained it. So if you want to see our opinions and actually like try and understand what the hell we're talking about, you can watch the stream back if you want, or you can click off because we're too mad and too frustrated that we still have issues that are correctable, because we definitely do. Anybody who thinks that we don't have issues that are correctable is lying to themselves. We have plenty that have existed all season and haven't improved. And people don't want to talk about them, and people just want to ignore them and just chalk it up to personnel or a bunch of bullshit excuses, and that's fine. But this ain't the place for that.
And this is another problem I have. I want to talk about this right now.
Yeah,
Is um, so I have been on record as saying another reason why starting Melo at the three does not work is because he demands touches, and those touches are so much better with the second unit where we struggle to score sometimes anyway, versus when things are working, but Melo hasn't touched the ball yet, so we have to go to him. So the first like 4 possessions of this game, we went inside to Nurk or Collins, and we had a definite plan to attack them inside, and we got an open 3 because of the defense collapsing by Melo. We had several Nurk shots. He missed one. He made one. We had a Collins post up where he made one. And I think we had one like driving penetration shot based off the action of going inside. But like it seemed like that was the game plan. So the first 2 minutes, it works great. And then all of a sudden, oh, Melo needs a touch in the post. So like we have to post up Melo. Then CJ hasn't shot yet. So he's got to go one-on-one and take some bad fadeaway 15-footer from the baseline that wasn't even close. It's just like, and then we never go back to it again, like until the second half. And then all of a sudden we go from winning the game to down 20, and we scored 9 points in the first like minute or two, and then all of a sudden we can't score at all, and like we're all struggling, and then everyone just tries to go one-on-one and stuff like that. And that's my problem with Trent in the game. He plays within himself on the offense. He's not trying to do too much. He just patiently waits for his chance, and he takes advantage of it. And that's what he's been doing definitely for the second half of the season. But most of the season, he has been in the right spot. When you kick to him, he confidently shoots the 3. It goes in, one of the greatest percentages on this team. If not, I think he might be shooting the best percentage on this team from 3 right now, at least on volume. But yeah, so I just don't get why we wouldn't take more advantage. That the whole point of starting 2 bigs is to take advantage of the size mismatches. Boston didn't have a single player over 6'8", and we don't even have the ability to take advantage of that.
You know what people say? He was like, oh, well, look at how Melo played in Game 1. The thing is, he played well in Game 1, like, offensively, because he was playing within the flow of the offense. Like, so many of his buckets came off of either spot-up threes or catching the ball, a spot-up 3, somebody ran him off the line, and he took a dribble in and shot, right? That's within the flow of the offense. Like, those types of shots, I'm cool with. The type of shots that I can't stand is posting him up, and he just settles for these crappy turnaround fadeaways over and over again, or he's ISOing in the mid-range and shoots a mid-range jumper. I don't like those because they're not efficient shots, right? And it takes away from the flow of the offense, and it hurts the rhythm of the offense, and it just doesn't fit well with Nurkic, CJ, and Dame in the lineup like you explained, right? If Carmelo just played within the flow of the offense, it wouldn't be quite as bad if he just spotted up and didn't demand touches on the block and shoot, ISO on the block so much and do all this stuff, then it would be better, right? But that's not how he is. He demands touches, as you said. He gets a lot of touches down there. He's not efficient from, like, those 15-foot isolations aren't efficient. He shoots too many mid-range jumpers on them, and in that scenario, it's not efficient. In the post, he's not efficient. Settles for too many turnarounds. As you said, that would be better suited for the bench lineup where you have more touches to go around because you don't have Nurk, Dame, or CJ in the lineup. So for all the people saying, oh, well, look at how he played in Game 1, that kind of plays into your point because he played well because he played within the flow of the offense. He plays bad when he tries to do too much, ISOs too much, that type of thing. Well, and that happens way too much.
Yeah, so the first game, I think he hit several shots like towards the end of the first half, right? Where the game was kind of up and down and it was kind of chaotic, and he just got hot and hit a few shots. And then he hit a couple threes at the end of the game where they were spot up shots, like not force feeding him the ball. He was spotted up and knocked down his threes, which is great. But a lot of times he doesn't do that. He wants the ball in the post. And like I said, when it's working with other players, like Zach scored with ease the one time he got the ball. I don't think we posted him up again the whole first half. I think he got a post up again in the second half. But it's like, why not like, keep doing that until it works. Other teams will keep going to their stars or their whatever's working against us over and over again until we stop it, and we don't stop it very well. So why not do the same back to them? And then the game got out of hand because we like everyone was going ISO and everyone needed their touches, and then we just kept shooting and bricking, and no one could hit a three. And on the other end, they were lights out for three, and we're not a good defensive lineup. So if we're not at least keeping pace offensively, why play a lineup that's not good defensively? It just does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
What's up, Sebastian Perez? Congratulations on the Celtics win. I don't think you needed to post that many shamrocks, but congratulations. Congratulations on almost blowing the game.
Blowing a 24-point lead. Congrats, man.
I think it was 21, but yeah. What are your thoughts on Gary Trent Jr.'s ceiling?
I don't know. He's still so young. Like, it's just his ceiling is going to be dependent on how good he can become off the dribble with the ball in his hands and his abilities as a playmaker. You know what I mean? I could maybe see him in his prime being like a 18 to 20 point per game guy with good defense.
Yeah, I think right now, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, he's maybe a just slightly worse defender than Wesley Matthews, but a slightly better three-point shooter.
And his
but
defense
it's pretty close.
So,
yeah, it's pretty close. But yeah, West was he was more like an effort guy. He wasn't. He got smarter on defense as he got older, but he was like a Jerry Sloan, perfect player for that system back in the day.
I don't even know if I want to say Wes is a better defender than Gary Trent Jr. Man, Gary Trent Jr. gets so many deflections and hands on them. I mean, he had one that he got called a foul for that Stotts had overturned with a challenge. And he did a good job of when he was against Jason Tatum today.
I think perimeter, like one-on-one individual defense is fine. Trent still struggles with some of the problems we talked about with Melo earlier. He does fall asleep off ball sometimes, and it does cause problems. So like awareness maybe off the ball, I think is definitely a nod to West. But yeah, it's not as far off as saying that before this season. Like you would have been like, oh, shut up, dude. Like he's not Wesley Matthews, like because everyone loves Wesley and stuff like that. But like. Just think of having a guy like a prime Wesley Matthews with a guy like Dame, how awesome that would be. But yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have, for Houston, would you rather have Trent start at the 3 and Melo start at the 4, or Melo start at the 3 and Collins start at the 4?
Well, with our inability to take advantage of what Collins would do at the 4, I say just bring him off the bench right now and
I would prefer to start Trent and Collins, but like if they're going to start Melo.
Yeah, I would say that too, but like knowing our system, I mean, because we should be posting up Nurk and Collins every possession that game. One thing about Collins, he's got to improve his hands, man. He fumbled so many passes, and like if he could just catch the freaking ball, he would be so good. But like he's got to improve his hands, and he still has to know when you cannot pick up a foul no matter what. So there's times where it's almost better to give up like a lay-in or a dunk than to pick up a third foul with like in the first quarter or whatever, you know. So like just having some more awareness for like when the right time to contest a shot in the first half when you already have 2 fouls might not be the best time to pick up your third foul. Like I said, I blame Whiteside for that play in particular, but it's I would prefer if Trent was a starter at 3, Collins was the 4, and Nurk was the 5, and then bring Melo as the backup 4 off the bench. But yeah, it leaves us pretty thin at guard right now. It's really tough. But yeah, you just stagger them all, and I don't know why Hazonia is getting an opportunity right now. I mean,
yeah. Where's Lil,
And
man?
first off the bench too. For like I know you said Trent ended up playing 40 minutes or whatever, but
34. He should have played 40.
Yeah.
He should have played 40. If you're gonna play Dame 44 minutes per game, you need to go all out with your rotation. Then, if you're gonna play Dame that many minutes, going all out with your rotation would be playing Gary Trent Jr. 40 minutes and cutting Mario's minutes to 6 instead of 12. Right? If that was the case, we might have won this game if we did that. If we subbed in Gary Trent Jr. first instead of Mario Hezonja, we might have won this game. That might be the difference at the end of the season. So,
yeah.
If we're gonna let's go all out. It's obvious who the better player is. It's beyond there's nothing that Mario is better than Gary Trent Jr. at. People would say, "Oh, well, you playmaking that type of stuff." I don't even think that. Mario is not a good playmaker, and he tries to do too much off the dribble and force too much. I'd rather have the guy that plays within his role and supplements the rest of the players on the court instead of trying to do too much with the ball. Mario was a -16 today. Gary Trent Jr. was a +8. Obviously, can't look too much at plus minus, but because Nurkic played great and he was a -13. But I'm just saying, it's obvious who the better player is. Why the hell is Mario coming off the bench first?
And this is what doesn't make sense. Maybe last game where we're playing, there's Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson and Jonas Valanciunas, those kind of guys. They mostly had two of those guys in the game at all times. So I kind of get going big against them, but there's no excuse for when Boston has basically 4 perimeter players and an undersized center in the game, because it was super early still, and they had all their starters in. There's no reason to not bring Trent in that situation. He's just as good. He's not as big as Mario, but he plays bigger than Mario does. So there's no reason to say, oh, he can't guard anyone in that situation. You should have just brought Trent in, and it would have been perfect. And then we could have seen the other starting lineup we could have possibly is, with Dame, CJ, Trent, Melo, and Nurk, and see how that goes for a while. But instead, we bring in Mario, and the game just gets crazy, and it's frustrating.
Westbrook says, I have to disagree. Blazers surprised Mario was a god. Yeah, he's a god for the other team most of the time.
We got a couple of Mario stands.
Mario is Kwame Brown 2.0. Hey, Matt, let me just say this real quick. If y'all don't follow us on Twitter, our Twitters are below our names. Follow us on Twitter. Also, call Chad Doing out every time he posts some bullshit. Ratio that man. He has too many yes men as his fans on Twitter. Gotta
I won't go that far.
You guys are our army, right? We need some backup, man. We need some backup. We can't fight this bullshit alone. So need the army behind us. The Uprise Army. That's a dope name. That's what I'm gonna call you guys from now on. The Uprise Army. That's dope. I don't know why I didn't use that earlier, bro. It's kind of cliche, but Uprise with the Army sounds dope. I like it. Or I could call you guys the Uprising. Nah, I like Uprise Army. I need to get shirts that says Uprise Army on it or something. Maybe that'll be a merch thing at some point. I don't know. I'm rambling. Eric, say something.
Yeah, I'm kind of done ranting.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to chat for a little bit. Yeah. Samuel says, let's just move on and get ready to beat the Rockets on Tuesday. But this is the part of the problem. We don't have time to just move on to the next game right now. All these games are super important, especially, you see Memphis lost tonight. We could be sitting here right now talking about we're only a game and a half away from the 8th seed and only having to win 1 out of the 2 play-in games to make the playoffs. Think of how much different that is than kind of struggling through these games and hoping to make the play-in game and then having to win 2 without losing the first one against whatever team is the 8th seed. And now we have to worry about the Spurs are ahead of us in the standings and all that stuff, where we've been gifted the Pelicans losing twice. Everyone thought they were going to easily get the 8th seed. We shouldn't. This is not the time to be we'll get them next game.
Yeah.
That's over. We need to win. This is a playoff type atmosphere, and it's win or go home right now. We can't be goofing around with lineups putting in Mario Hezonja as the sixth man and first guy off the bench. We can't be goofing around with Melo as our starter when Trent is obviously playing lights out right now. Like, we need to just put the best players on the floor and win these games. And we cannot afford to get down by as much as we've gotten down. Yes, we've come back in both games and taken the lead in both games. We actually won the last game and didn't pull it out tonight. But, like, it's just a recipe of disaster getting down in games all the time. And Tommy says, where'd all the cutting go? Yeah, good question. How many times did we cut in this game? I don't remember many.
Yeah. I mean, we had some possessions where we had good ball movement, but I felt like it was more stagnant today and had less player movement today than we had against the Grizzlies. Now, maybe part of that was the Celtics defense, but still should be trying to move. It seemed like we kind of... I mean, and it follows a trend at the start of regular seasons where we move the ball well and then kind of regress back to the same stagnant type of crap. So, I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to complain when we did score 124 points today. It's kind of hard to complain about our offense. We shot the ball well.
Well, a lot of that is Dame getting hot in the second half, and CJ hit a couple threes.
The fact that we got that hot as a team and didn't win is sad. Like, there's no way. Like, we went nuclear, man. We popped off. But we had a 24-point deficit because we can't play defense. We can't play defense, man. And like I said all season, it wasn't just going to be automatically solved with Nurkic and Collins. And now you have the proof. But a lot of people won't admit that. You know, it's another excuse. It's on to the next excuse now. So, you know, what can you do, I guess? I guess you can't, you know, beat the Celtics at all. You have no control. They're just better. So.
Yep.
My voice kind of quitting at me. I kind of got mad at the end of that game. My voice is still not peak.
But yeah, like, is Denver better than us?
No, but if we beat Denver, Denver is better than us, but if we beat them, you know, it's, Stotts, great job. You know, if we lose, it's, our personnel just isn't good enough to beat them. You know, that's how it goes.
The two, like, turning points of that series in Denver, one was Harkless getting a cramp, forcing Stotts to put in Hood, and he wins the game for us. And the other is we're down 17 in Game 7, and CJ just goes ISO the rest of the game and completely controls the game and wins us the game single-handedly pretty much.
And then everybody's saying, Stotts, he's a great coach because we got
conference.
When he tried to make us not even get the 3 seed at the end of the regular season, we played freaking Anthony Simons 48 minutes, Trent 48 minutes back before he was Gary Trent. Yeah, so we were trying to lose that last game of the regular season, it seemed like, because we were playing all our scrubs. And ended up down 20-something in that game. It just so happened to miraculously come back and get the 3 seed, which gave us the chance to get to the Western Conference Finals. But, you know, it's just, the narratives are so stupid. You know, everything's back to normal with a stream like this where we're just complaining about the same freaking narratives that existed all season, you know? It's just like, what is it going to take to make people, like, open their eyes? That's what I wonder.
Because we didn't really do anything drastically different, at least on offense, in the second half. Dame just got hot and made some incredible shots. Yeah. And I mean, that's like I said, we're never out of a game. And these people who think personnel, I mean, I listed all our personnel. We have good pieces. It's not it's not like we're at a severe disadvantage where we're like the New Jersey or the Brooklyn Nets right now, who have like half their team out and are playing like Chris Chiozza like half like most of the game because they have no other options. Like, we have talented players. We have some of the better players at their positions in the league. There is no excuse for being outgunned or not competing in these type of games. It's just so frustrating.
Well, let's look at it this way. Number 1, Dame's better than Tatum, right? Who's the Celtics number 2, you think, tonight? Brown?
Tonight is probably Brown, yeah.
Yeah, Kemba didn't really play, so let's just look at this. Okay, CJ, in terms of talent, I think they're pretty equal. I mean, I'd probably rather have Brown just because of the way this team is made up, but like they're pretty equal. If I had to say, I would just go with CJ equals Brown, right? Number 3's Nurkic. I'd take him over Hayward. Like Kemba only played 20 minutes today, so you can't even factor him in. So yeah, you got Dame better than Tatum, CJ about equal to Brown, Nurkic better than Hayward, right? But personnel. We just didn't have the personnel. That's a tweet I'm posting.
And it drives me crazy too, because like I said, there was posts about how they have big wings. What are we supposed to do? Well, we had a huge advantage inside. Like, they could not stop us most of the game when we went inside. Like, why not just keep going to that well when things aren't working out? Like, why always settle for ISO? And it's like Nurk had an incredible game. Like, keep posting him up. Like, yeah, he's not gonna make it every single time. That's not reasonable. But like, even if he just makes it half the time, that's good offense.
Yeah. God, man, I'm so frustrating to lose that game. Anyway, Jake Curry's the one person I know who can focus on the good things with the coaching and actually know what he's talking about. He's the one guy I know that can focus on the good, like consistently focuses on the good with the coaching, but actually can break things down and knows what he's talking about. So,
can you answer Kevin's question? I'm not sure what the answer is. It's about the link for the
YouTube All-Star thing. How does the unlimited link get sent to me for the live game we'll watch together? I can post in the community tab on this channel and post to only members. So that's what I'll do. And I think I can set it by like what members can see it. So that's what I'll do for you guys. Or I'll post something in the community tab and have you like post your emails or like post a way I can send you the link. We'll figure it out. Look, I'll tomorrow night we have Blazers Uprise live. I will have something for that then. I won't have the link then. I just will like have like a plan for how I'm going to get that to you, because that's a good question.
Did Kevin figure out how to join Discord?
Do you guys want another Discord link? I'll put another Discord link in the chat.
Because if you're on Discord, we can also like just DM people. Like,
that's also true.
And does Dionysus get a ticket for buying merch?
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody who bought merch too. So I will make like a thread in the Discord and like set roles for the people who have tickets. I'll figure it out. I'll have a plan by tomorrow night. Let me create a link for you guys. And there's the Discord link if you want to join.
So yes, I did have a video explaining how Hassan walking doesn't help our cap and doesn't help us keep assets. I think we're seeing. I'm hoping he gets out of his funk, but he's obviously not happy coming off the bench, and this is why both Tori and I were vehemently against keeping him after the trade deadline, and we thought that was the worst decision we could have made moving forward. So yeah, you either lose him for nothing now, or you pay him, I guess, and try to make it work. But yeah, it's not looking good.
Yep, it's a rock and hard place.
But if he leaves, we don't get any extra salary cap, nothing. There's no extra advantage of him leaving. We don't get to sign someone to replace him. We have to use our options that we would have had whether he stays or leaves. So that's the problem. Yeah.
I will say this. We could mitigate his loss if we handled things right. Like it's not something that would screw us over. Like say we, which like I know you're not really on board, but say we traded our first round pick for Bielitsa and a second round pick, we can absorb Bielitsa without sending anyone out because he fits into our traded player exception. Then we'd still have our mid-level exception, and you'd have a bench already of Trent, Hood, and Bielitsa, right? Then you could use the mid-level exception on center since you don't really have another role you need to fill. And having a guy like Bielitsa off the bench at the 4 could provide you enough minutes at that position where you could start Collins at the 4, but then also play him at some 5. So like a situation like that, you could offset the loss of Hassan, but you'd need to like go out and make a trade without giving up an asset. You know, and it's not likely, if that makes sense. Because there's not a lot of good players that can fit into our traded player exception because most of them make more money. So we can be creative and like offset his loss. Olshey hasn't been creative enough for me personally. Like I wish he was more creative, but it's just like, yeah, you don't get anything if you lose him, right? If you keep him, you could use him as salary to trade later on. He might provide you with some good games as a backup center. He's still like he would still be a really good backup center, even if he's in a funk. I don't think he'd be a bad backup center. I mean, he's just so big and lanky and good rebounder and can finish, like, so he wouldn't be terrible. So there's some upside with keeping him compared to just losing him for nothing. It's just a tough situation. That's why we should have traded him.
And this is again why I'm mad we traded Scal, because we could have developed him as the backup 4 and 5, and then you have a rotation where you have Nurk as a center, and then Collins and Scal who can play both the 4 and 5, and you have a nice little rotation there. You could play Collins a lot more as small ball center. That would open up so many more options than keeping Whiteside and forcing it to work out. But it's just. Yeah.
So anyway, Memphis plays New Orleans tomorrow. I want Memphis to lose. People are saying New Orleans. I think our odds for making the playoffs go up more if Memphis loses.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's going to be hard to win back-to-back games regardless, right? So our best chance is to get the 8th seed at this 8-game restart, which isn't likely either, but like that's our best chance to make the playoffs in my opinion. And the only way that happens is if like Memphis loses to the Pelicans, right? If like the Pelicans are already in a position where they have to win 2 more games over the final 6 to pass us, and they look like they have some problems, odds on a minutes restriction and whatnot. So like if we can't go like 3-3, 4-2, then we're probably not going to make the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And if we go 4-2, the Pelicans would have to win out to pass us. So I'm not really worried about them, right? So just doing the math, I think we should be rooting for Memphis tomorrow.
Yeah. I agree.
So, hopefully... Or
I
rooting
agree.
Against Memphis. I don't know if I just said rooting for Memphis. We should be rooting against Memphis for the Pelicans. Yes.
I think you said that right. So Hoyce Gaming says if we don't go 4-2, then we don't deserve to be in the playoffs, which there's some truth to that as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that would make us 5-3 for this little run. Yeah.
And we have one very easy game, right? The Nets game. Let's just count that as a win, right? It's the last game of the regular season against the Nets, who are just there's no point to even talk playoffs if we can't take care of business on the last game of the regular season again to the playoffs against the freaking New York Nets, the Brooklyn Nets, because they're playing just such an awful, terrible lineup, man. So just chalking that up as a win.
But Jamal Crawford, dude, watch out.
Chalking that up as the win. You got 5 games between now and then that are tough, right? You got Houston, Denver, the Clippers, the Sixers, and Dallas. We should at least be able to win 2 of those games if we're serious about being in the playoffs, and at least go 3-3.
Alvaro, but the point doesn't still stand that we should have beaten them, and we still should have beaten them. He says carefully he said the same thing about the Knicks, but yeah, if we can't beat teams like the Knicks and the Nets, then yeah, we don't
Exactly.
deserve to make the playoffs. So
Exactly. Exactly. So this
for
Rockets
some
game
reason,
is
we
pretty
match up
big.
well against the 76ers.
Yeah. And we've also played the Rockets well this year.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. If we're starting Melo at the 3, that's going to be scary. When did I ever say TJ Warren sucks? What are you talking about? I said he's not a good fit on this team, specifically. I mean, if he's dropping 53, he's a good fit on any team.
Hey,
But,
team, yeah.
he's a guy that, I don't know. Like, this year he proved his three-point shooting to me. Before the season, it was like he was still a questionable three-point shooter because he only had 1 year where he shot the ball well, and then previous years he was bad from the three-point line. So this year he proved his shooting to me, but he's still, like, not a good defender and he's kind of a ball stopper. So he's not really a great fit. I've always said we need 3-and-D forwards, That's why I'm saying we should be starting Gary Trent Jr., but,
Yeah, obviously, if this is the TJ Warren you get, he had an incredible game.
Yeah. Yeah, he was phenomenal. Yeah, so anyway, it's a frustrating loss. For any of those of you who are not subscribed to our second channel, we have a live streaming channel where we have our Blazers Uprise live show. You can look at it as a podcast. It's just, we don't call it a podcast. It's a live stream. So I know some people haven't been paying attention. Just stupid ass. But there's a link in the description. Go subscribe to it now if you aren't already subscribed. We're going to be streaming tomorrow night at 9:45 Pacific time, and we will pick the following day's NBA games. We'll preview this Houston Rockets game, and we'll just chill on stream. And it'll be more laid back in these post-game streams, because these post-game streams are just going on basketball. In those late-night streams, we can kind of relax and banter a bit more. So there's a
Talk
link
more
in
about
the
the NBA in a whole.
Yeah, I'm going to post the link in the chat for you guys to that channel, so that if you're interested, you can go subscribe. As I already said, make sure to follow us on Twitter as well.
So Dionysus keeps asking about our draft options. Tori, I think, wants to trade the pick, especially if we stay
It
in
just
that
depends
mid-teens,
on who we
right?
get. Yeah.
I am on the. I want one of either Aaron Naismith or Sadiq Bey. I love both of those guys, and those are my wishes for the Blazers. But yeah.
Yep. So there is that streaming channel. We're gonna be wrapping up things soon. I'm gonna wrap things up once I get a good DoorDash order, because I'm going to go work, which I've been working like crazy lately. If you haven't really been paying much attention, I've been working 60 hours a week right now. I worked about 13 hours yesterday, so that's why the content has been a little lax. But in the next couple weeks or so, which kind of sucks, the time is kind of bad, but I should be moving out of here in the next month. And when I move out, then I won't have to work quite as much, and I'll be able to do more for the channel. So apologies for the content being kind of
Mark,
relaxed,
it's literally just post it. Just scroll up.
Oh, the Discord link. Oh.
It's 4 above where you said repost the link, and then you kept saying repost it.
No, he's talking
there
about
it
the
is
Discord
again.
link.
No, I know. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the channel link.
Okay.
That's the channel link.
Never mind. Sorry, my bad.
This says YouTube right there, man. You blind.
I just saw you post the link. I assumed it was Discord. My bad.
I need to come up with more emojis, because now we have more channel members. Now we have more emojis. Watch party on August 6th should be entertaining, especially if it's like this game, because you guys will be able to hear our rants live. That'll be something new. But not everybody gets access to that stream. You have to become a channel member, or you have to buy some merch, or you can hit me up for a one-time payment of $6. We're giving away tickets to that, basically. if you have to become a channel member to this channel for $5 or more. I think that's the all-star tier or higher, and you'll get an automatic ticket to that watch party. Next season, we will do at least one watch party a month for our channel members or anybody who buys merch that month, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing. Can we do a podcast mute rant? What do you mean a mute rant?
I think he's making fun of all the rants you've had this season when they're muted.
Did we ever get that rat? It's coming. It's coming. Detective Trev got to do some research on that one. That's all I'm going to say. And he might have just put 2 and 2 together. Trevin, let me know if you get it. Let me know if you get it now. Nobody knows what we're talking about except for Trevin. And
Orlando is blowing out the Kings.
Malcolm Bugnoli upgraded his membership. Appreciate it, bro. Trevin figured it out. So props to Trevin. Yeah. Anyway. You just finally got it now, Trevin, or did you get it before? I literally announced when I'm dropping it in a tweet.
I just got it now. I had no idea what it was, and I just got it. Nice.
Nobody got it, man. I wasn't even going to.
Well, I didn't get it because I thought you were going to back out of it, but if you're saying it for sure,
I ain't backing
for sure.
Out of shit. Likely.
Okay.
Likely.
All right.
Because I should have.
Looking forward to that then.
I ain't going on vacation, man. With like everybody in this household and my whole family is going on vacation. I'm not. So I got like 4 days to do it.
Where are they going?
The beach. But I got work and I got stream.
Yeah.
So I can't afford to go on vacation. So it sucks, but whatever. Thought that Weppi might have meant, but the 812 being right next to each other and the fact that you're still where you're at made me think it wouldn't be what it meant. Got you. Detective Trev. I posted that for Trevin to figure out. Detective Trev.
I thought it had something to do with NASCAR or something. So I just like, okay.
That's just a number.
Yeah. All right. Mark joined our Discord, even though he's a Bucks fan.
Oh, is he a Bucks fan?
We do have a like a general and around the NBA pages threads, so you can talk about your Bucks there. Just don't get too trolly.
The Discord link is. I'll just repost it, I guess.
Did Kevin Reese ever make it? Are you still in here, Kevin?
I need to post more in the Discord during games. I'm too much on Twitter, bro.
Yeah, I didn't even look on Discord.
We have a Magic fan in there. Hey, I'm down to have fans of other teams in there. That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I joined the Discord too, but I don't live in Oregon anymore. Don't you?
And then when we have stuff in the future, we'll have a preset fan base.
Yep. Well, at least to start off with. Which, yeah, that would be dope, man. That would be dope. So I've teased you guys about like business plans in regards to YouTube that is just bigger than this, but not told you guys what it is because I kind of can't. But the whole pandemic kind of put things off, and now I'm just focused on moving out. So I'm just focused on one thing at a time. Once I move out, I'm gonna be really trying to make some headway, and hopefully that'll go public. Also having a website built, which is a completely different thing. What I was teasing all season was not a website, but we will have a website that'll launch. We kind of already do, but it's just merch. It's bare bones. The design's kind of it's just the starter website. We will have like a legit Blazers Edge type website launching September 20th with written content, and the design should be phenomenal. I think I'm shelling out. I'm just gonna say I'm shelling out $1,000 to get that website built. So a lot of you guys' money that you've helped support me with, I've put towards that website. So appreciate the help that you guys have given me and allowing me to be able to do that. if you're interested in writing, if you're a Blazer fan, no Bucks fans writing content like, you guys lost, you suck. Nothing like that, right? If you're legitimately...
He wasn't doing that, but yeah,
no,
all the
Celtics fans, just an article with all shamrocks, yeah. But if you're interested in writing for me and you think you like have what it takes to like be a legit writer, because I'm not just going to accept any sort of writing, there is going to be a standard that I'm going to try and keep it at, if that makes sense, you know, because I do want to compete with like Blazers Edge and Rip City Project. I do kind of want to compete in the space of just written content and news online and that type of stuff. So I do want the writing to be legit. But if you think you're like decent at writing, you know, I can work with you and everything will improve as we go on. But if you want to write for us, that's the email, blazersuprise@gmail.com. I don't know why I posted it like that, but blazersuprise@gmail.com. Send me an email. I might not respond, you know, right away. It might be a couple days, but I will respond and I'll talk to you about it. So somebody we will have writing for us is Parsa Ash Grizem, however you say his name, or Parsa. That's somebody. Nate Mann said he'd write a little bit for us, and I love Nate Mann's work. I know I'm blanking on somebody else, so I've just kind of started the process of recruiting. Eric will write, I'll write, you know, we'll write. I'm looking forward to Eric's, you know, Eric can be our cap expert, our trade ideas guy, our, you know, that type of stuff. I feel like you crush it because you actually know the damn CBA when talking about that type of stuff. So yeah, Westbrook, I got named my community college writing course, so that's something. Hey man, that's dope. That's a start. If you want to write, bro, email me, man. You can write as much as little as you want. Like, well, it won't be something that's like required, you know.
Westbrook is scared to come on the shows with us.
Why?
Well, he's had the opportunity to do so, but I think he's a little shy about his speaking. But yeah, so
I feel
instead we can offer him a chance to write for us. And that way he doesn't have to worry about his speaking. You can just put it in written form.
Mm-hmm. And if like you don't want to like break stuff down, like news, you know, there will be news articles. So like it's not all like analysis, or you can like, there will be articles based on other articles. You know, if there's a Bleachers Report article and you think it's bad, you can go in on that or that type of thing and go in on why, or you can talk about a rumor, just that's kind of like a news thing. It's not all just like breaking down the game or analysis or that type of stuff. So there will be different niches. We definitely do need writers. So I'm excited for that. So that'll be, I asked for it released a little bit earlier because at first it was supposed to be. I gotta accept this order. I gotta go in a couple minutes, so let me just end with this. I'm super excited for that. I wanted it launched September 20th so that we would have lead up to the draft, so that we could do draft profile type stuff, so we could do mock draft type stuff, so we could do free agency preview type stuff on there. I'll also do videos and stuff, but just trying to expand the platform and grow the platform and do more with this. And that website should be good, should be launched right in time for the off season. So I'm very excited about that. Sloth Bag, we just talked about it. You got a release date up there in chat. So it's before the end of the season too. End of season's August 13th. So I stuck true to that.
Hey, real quick, how much would you have to get paid to do a DoorDash to my house? What would be like the minimum you would do that for?
Depends on the time, because rush hour traffic.
Like right now on a Sunday. $35. Nice.
35, because I could get there and like back into Vancouver in an hour, right? If it's like a decently fast restaurant, so like 30 or so.
I have to wonder if $30.
Wait, you're past Beaverton. No, it have to be like 40.
Is $40 worth having Tori show up at my house?
I don't even think you can't even order from that far away.
No, I know.
But $40 just to get me to show up for 5 seconds, say, here's your food.
Yeah, if I gave you $40 and you brought my food, like I just not through DoorDash, but I just like paid you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even take that because I need my proof of income so I can rent a house. That's why I'm working so much. So,
Yeah.
Like, it kind of like normally I'd like money tips, but it kind of sucks getting money tips right now because the only money I'm using as proof of income is just the money I make through the app that people tip through the app. So, yeah, I've made $1,000 this week. Gonna try and hit 1,200 today. I shouldn't talk about my income, but screw it. I'm open with everything. Like, I'm trying to rent a house and pour more money into this channel and like pour money into a studio and all that type of stuff. So all the help you guys do get, I do put towards the channel. And I'm planning a studio out right now, getting the website built. So I know the videos haven't really been uploaded, but I've been doing stuff behind the scenes, and I got some plans. You know, I just gotta get out of this place and into my own. So, 1K a week is nothing to scoff about. Yeah, it's solid money. A ton of work. Just gonna be like a 65-hour work week. So, when I'm not streaming, I'm working pretty much. I worked till 3 a.m. last night. So.
And Alvaro, that's a good question for tomorrow night.
Yeah, because I gotta go because I actually already picked up an order and I gotta go pick up right now. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm putting my
bye everyone
as we sign off. Thank you guys for watching. Catch us
Sorry
tomorrow
if I was too negative.
at 9:45 Pacific time. And until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.